Happy Monday, everyone. I am AnnaLee Dragon, the director of the Kinderhook Memorial Library, and I am back with another Monday book talk, and I'm excited because this week is an unboxing week. So for those of you who've joined us before, I periodically get boxes of new books in that I have ordered, and this is the time when we take them out of the box and check out what's new. And we had been doing this a lot because you hadn't been able to be in the library to see our new books on display. But now, just so in case you aren't aware, you can make appointments to come into the library for browsing or computer use. So if you just want to come check out some new things, you are welcome to do that. Just give us a call at 518-758-6192 and just let us know you'd like to make an appointment, and we'll get you all set up so you can come handle these books yourself. But for those of you who are still more comfortable at home, which I totally understand, we're going to do another unboxing video. So the way that collection development works at a library is the librarians, which in this case at our library are Mandy Babarad, who is our children's librarian, Matt Pavlov, who's our teen librarian, and myself as the adult librarian. We read book reviews in Library Journal and Book Page and the New York Times bestseller list. We listen to patron requests, so anything that has a certain number of holds, we get a list from the system. We also just listen to you and talk to you in email and over the phone and in person about what things you're looking for. And then there are just some authors that are big name authors and very famous, and everybody wants to read whatever their newest book is. So those tend to just get ordered right away. So I try to order monthly. It doesn't always happen, especially in this year. What always happens in 2020? Nothing. So it's kind of the Wild West this year, but I have been, since we've been back in June doing curbside, I've been doing monthly orders. And so I finally got a new box of books in, and I wanted to share with you some of the awesome stuff that just came in, and so you can get on the wait list for some of them, or maybe just pick it right up, depending. Some of these authors don't have a wait list yet, which is astonishing because they're all excellent. So let's get started. I thought we'd start with some nonfiction, and then I'll move to some of our big name fiction that has come in. So one of the first books I wanted to talk about, and it spoke to me just because of the title, it's a social sciences kind of book. It's called Cant Even. And I apologize for the glare. I'm going to put pictures of all the covers at the end. So if you can't read them, don't worry. Just trying to give you a feel. You'll get a picture of the cover with the author's name and the title, so you'll be able to pick it out, no problem, out of the catalog. So the subtitle of Cant Even is How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation. And this book is by Anne Helen Peterson. And I thought that was really interesting because millennials are a generation that gets there's a lot of commentary about them as a group. And so I think this book is, as it puts it, an incendiary examination of millennial burnout, the cultural shifts that brought us here, the pressures that sustain it, and the need for drastic change. And I think that is a theme for 2020, is the need for drastic change on a lot of fronts. So I thought this might be something that we would all be interested in, or many of us anyway. I certainly am. So it's gotten a lot of praise from a bunch of really awesome people, including Tressie McMillan Cottom, whose book Thick I talked about on a previous book talk. So that is enough. A lot of times a favorite author will give a great blurb about a new book, and that always hooks me in. Without a doubt, you get a great author who I love saying that this book is great, then I want to read it. So that's one. On the social sciences sort of subject matter also, we have this one called Conditional Citizens. So that is by Leila Lalami, and the subtitle is On Belonging in America, which again, pretty hot topic. You see a lot of the discussions going on around immigration and race relations and police reform and all of these sorts of things. So I think this is along those lines. So this book is about, she is a Pulitzer Prize finalist, actually. And so this book recounts her unlikely journey from Moroccan immigrant to United States citizen, using it as a starting point for her exploration of the rights, liberties, and protections that are traditionally associated with American citizenship. So in the season of voting and elections and participation, what better time to read a book like this from the experience of somebody firsthand and kind of maybe give you a new viewpoint on things. I think that's the beauty of books and reading, is that they expand our minds and our viewpoints and give us all sorts of new things to think about. So Conditional Citizens by Leila Lalami. Then I have one that I'm kind of excited to read called it's called The Power of Ritual. This should tell you the cover is a little confusing. I was reading the lines in order. That's not how it works. So it's called The Power of Ritual, Turning Everyday Activities into Soulful Practices. And this one spoke to me because I thought in this time of, quarantine and kind of house arrest that we're sort of under, self-imposed house arrest in some cases. The idea of taking the everyday, the mundane, the basic, and turning it into a soulful practice sounded really good to me for some reason. I think it's about putting care and time and effort into even the small things that we do, which I think benefits us all. And this says that it's how we find connection today has changed, and we no longer seek purpose and community within traditionally religious spaces, but rather in secular ones like book clubs and yoga studios and CrossFit. So this author is just talking about the idea of ancient ritual of wisdom in our new practices and how those things can kind of be melded and merged. The author is Casper ter Kuile. I am not 100% sure how to pronounce the last name. I apologize if I said it wrong. Who is a Harvard Divinity School fellow and co-host of the award-winning podcast Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. So I think that this is a really interesting read for people who are, like I said, kind of trapped at home and reevaluating how and why they do things. This might be a really great book. Then it's coming up on October. So I don't know if any of you saw the book page last month, but it was all about witches because it's almost Halloween. So I picked up a new cookbook, which I'm excited about, called A Kitchen Witch's Guide to Recipes for Love and Romance. So this one is a self-help sort of book about loving you, attracting love, and rekindling the flames. And it's a gorgeous recipe book with the easiest and simplest form of magic cooking. So that just sounded fun to me. And when they have recipes like twice baked stuffed potatoes, who's arguing with that? That sounds great to me. It's got some really beautiful pictures inside, which I love in a cookbook. I want to know how it's supposed to look because mine does not usually look how it's supposed to look, but it's nice to have a goal to aim for. So The Kitchen Witch's Guide to Recipes for Love and Romance is by Dawn Aurora Hunt. And I am looking forward to checking it out and baking some stuff. Sounds great. We also have another cookbook, which I'm excited about because, as I mentioned in last week's talk, this is Hispanic Heritage Month. This one's called Chicano Eats. And it's recipes from my Mexican-American kitchen by Esteban Castillo. And it got great reviews. He is the creator of the award-winning blog Chicano Eats. And so you may have already seen the blog. I have not, but now I want to look it up. And again, just some beautiful color pictures of the recipes. And I love something that's a little culturally infused and not just, this has stories from his life mixed in here. And it has a great list of tools and resources you need at the beginning, which I think is awesome also. And it's just bright and colorful and looks fantastic. Very excited. Maybe this will become a future cookbook club book. Wow, that's a lot of words to say in a row that all start with C. But I think that this could be a future club read, which would be great once we get back to being able to have our cookbook club. And then for all of our gardeners out there, I've got The Complete Language of Flowers, A Definitive and Illustrated History, which is beautiful. And it's by S. Teresa Dietz. It's to discover the secret meaning of flowers and their hidden language. And so they talk about what flowers have meant traditionally, like the fact that a sweet pea reported a friendly "I'm thinking of you," or that a lavender rose screamed love at first sight. So it's got beautiful botanical drawings inside. And then the meanings of all sorts of plants and flowers and their Latin names and symbolic meanings and folklore and facts. It just looked like a really beautiful book to add to our collection on gardening since we have so many people who love gardening. I am not one of them. I love the results, but I will kill everything. So I have a black thumb. So I like to read books like this, but I would never do this to the poor flowers. It would hurt them. So we're fair to them. Okay, so that's a lot of our nonfiction. And now on to some fiction books that we got in that are all a bunch of really popular authors. And I'm hoping you're as excited as I am. So the first one is Alice Hoffman's Magic Lessons, the prequel to Practical Magic, which was a big hit of hers and was turned into a movie with Sandra Bullock. This was years and years ago. So this one takes place before that. And it says it's an unforgettable novel that traces a century-old curse to its source. And that beloved author Alice Hoffman unveils the story of Maria Owens, accused of witchcraft in Salem and matriarch of the Owens family, featured in Practical Magic and the Rules of Magic. So if you read those books and loved them, you can read how it all started with this book, Magic Lessons. Then we've got one that I know has a ton of holds on it because she's a very popular author, and this is her newest one, Karen Slaughter's The Silent Wife, which says on the cover, he watches, he waits, he takes, who will be next? Kind of sounds frightening. So she tends to write thrillers This is this is an investigation of a killing of a prisoner during a riot inside a penitentiary. So if you are a page turner thriller person, or you're just a big Karen Slaughter fan, this is her newest book, and it's gotten great reviews by Lisa Gardner and Jeffrey Deaver, other thriller authors, which highly recommends it. Michael Connelly, Tess Gerritsen, all these people who you probably read and like. So check that one out. Vince Flynn has a new one out, Total Power. So it's a Mitch Rapp novel, so it's part of one of his series, although his can often be read as standalones. So if you haven't read the others, I wouldn't let that stop you. But these have a lot to do with this one focuses around ISIS taking out the entire US power grid, and the country is thrown into chaos. I mean, could happen, I suppose. So this is a kind of a government tech thriller sort of book like Vince Flynn often writes, and I know this one is going to be popular also. Then on a little sort of the touchier side, actually, I'll cover one more thriller before we leave, and that's J.D. Robb's new book, Shadows in Death. So the In Death series is long and running, and this is the newest one in it. They star Lieutenant Eve Dallas. So if you have read those before, you will be excited to see this new entry, and I know there's a bunch of holds on it. And if you haven't, maybe it's time to start a new series. And there are plenty of books, so they would keep you busy for a while. And then on the softer side of things, heart-wrenching maybe and softer, we have Jodi Picoult's new book, which is called The Book of Two Ways. She wrote Small Great Things, which is one I read and loved. She's written a number that have turned into movies. They are all very family-oriented usually and tug at the heartstrings. A lot of times deal with a moral dilemma of some sort, which is very interesting. And so this book is a riveting novel about the choices that alter the course of our lives. So it sounds like it's on brand with the other books that I've read of hers and really liked. So if you're looking for something a little more deep-seated and heartfelt, this new book by Jodi Picoult, The Book of Two Ways, might be the one for you. And then last but not least, certainly, Marilyn Robinson, who was the Pulitzer Prize winning author of Gilead. And I know several of our book clubs read that and a bunch of people really enjoyed it. She has a new one out. It's just called Jack. So this is I'm just checking. I'm sorry. I'm just reading here. In Jack, Robinson tells the story of John Ames Boughton, the prodigal son of Gilead's Presbyterian minister, and his romance with Della Miles, a high school teacher who is also the child of a minister. So it seems like all the characters that we loved in Gilead and Home and Lila are back. And this is just a continuation of that story. It's called Jack, and it's got a bunch of good write-ups and excellent reviews, and everybody is very excited for it. So if you loved Marilyn Robinson's world of Gilead, then this is the book for you. So all of these I am working on cataloging. They will be in the system very shortly. Feel free to make an appointment. Come see us. You can also do curbside still. We are doing that. So if you would prefer to do that, that's no problem at all. Place holds. If you have trouble with the online system at all, give us a call. We'll help you out. And we're just happy to be back and have you guys in the building for the first time since March. So it's pretty exciting. And we hope that you are all healthy and well, and that we will see you again next week. Okay? Thanks so much.